Alrighty, welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks. Tim is back, joining me once again. Um, and we are 15 days or so away from Christmas already, which I feel like I'm still in August, so I'm a little thrown off by the winter festivities. But
Things move quick, just
the,
like this NFL season does. Since
oh yeah, 4 games left already of the regular season. That's
what
crazy.
if I took you? What if I took you back to the beatdown against Tampa going into the bye week and told you, all right, we're gonna win the next 9 games.
And Saquon's going to be chasing Eric Dickerson's record. Yeah, I wouldn't have believed you.
The Barkley, I would have believed that. That he was pretty. I mean, he was pretty amazing through the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, but
See, the problem is the only thing that is still consistently happening now that was happening in that week 4 game was that Barkley is bailing out the offense. That's the only thing the same. The defense is completely different. They're much better now.
oh yeah.
Hurts is still having his struggles, but he's not fumbling the ball as much,
Mm.
which is good. Well, that was the biggest one. Offensive line looks good. But I mean, I think that was the big topic is the passing game still doesn't look like it's clicked. Um, I mean, that's obviously the big one now. I don't know. I'm not really into the whole hate. I don't know why everyone's just ripping the team so much right now. I get like the Brown and Smith and Hurts, really, they all looked pretty pissed off for a game they just won. Um, I mean, like, look at every good team in the league right now. They've all had bad games against crappy teams. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't that long ago on Thanksgiving, I think it was, where the Lions struggled mightily against the Bears, and the Bears look like a train wreck.
Oh
They look
yeah.
like they're just as bad as the Panthers now. So, I mean, I get the criticism. I think it's the biggest criticism. It's the same thing that hasn't gotten better. The passing game still it looks very, lackluster.
Yeah. I think also like I think it's pretty obvious Jalen's been more conservative throwing the ball. One issue with that though is that he is taking more sacks than he should. Like he's
Yeah.
almost at a career high in sacks already. But I mean I was looking at his numbers earlier the other day and I mean his I think his passer rating is sitting at a career high. His yards per attempt is sitting at a career high. His um, I think completion percentage is at a career high. So he's playing more efficiently. Um, I don't think he's being asked to really do a lot though. So I mean I've seen Jalen have 300-yard games and three passing touchdowns. So I don't. I think if Saquon ever got shut down, he would have to step up. But I feel like people aren't realizing that's also like the game plan isn't to pass, it's to run.
It is.
So we
Yeah,
don't
that
we
is
don't
the big
need
thing.
him to put up Joe Burrow, 4 straight games with 300 yards because they don't have a running back. I think people are getting, a little worried. I think if you want to see what Jalen can do with the ball in his hand throwing, just look back at the year we went to the Super Bowl and he was, throwing dimes left and right.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
that was when they weren't running the ball. I mean, Miles Sanders had a career year, but that was Miles
yeah,
Sanders. The Saquon
yeah, I
Barkley's
think
10 times different.
I think, the also they haven't really been trailing much lately. They'll get a lead somewhat in the third quarter or by half, and then they kind of just run it out. I mean, Saquon's second half rushing numbers are like insane.
Yeah.
Um, he hasn't. I mean, yes, AJ's been he's been quiet like vocally the last 2 years, I feel like. Whereas like previously he was a bit of the diva wide receiver. But you see the diva come out a little bit when he's like, "Hey, I'm not getting my, I want to get more catches. I want to get this and that." Um, I mean, freaking Debo Samuel complains every week about not getting enough targets, and
Well, I mean,
you know,
I think in that aspect, I mean, you are right. Like I said this when they signed Barkley. This seemed like a Kellen Moore move. You hired Kellen Moore to revamp the offense.
yeah,
You got a guy who coached in the division with Barkley with the Cowboys, and then you had Howie break everything he normally does about running backs. What changed? You brought an offensive guy that would probably begged for Barkley, and you had a game plan for Barkley. You weren't just going to go sign Barkley without a clear, obvious game plan for him.
oh yeah,
I think I think the frustrations more or less come from you like when you have Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. this should be a pass first team almost. Like when you have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, they throw all the time. Now they don't have Saquon Barkley, and maybe that's something that we could look into. We're not really balanced. I think that's where most of the frustration comes from.
I, y-
You'd like to see it open up more.
I I agree, but also the reason for balance is to be more successful, right? And I don't think, I mean, this game was a little rough, and I kind of expected that, but
Yeah.
I they're people. I feel like they're over analyzing. Like I feel like there hasn't necessarily been a need for balance because Saquon and the offensive line have
Well,
just
yeah,
been
it's
so
true.
dominant. Like the
They've never
balance
needed to throw
is
the
a
ball.
product of keeping the defense honest because you might, you want to be able to be efficient on the ground and through the air. But if you're dominating on the ground, why would you throw the ball? You know what I mean?
Well, I
Like,
mean, you could just say we won 9 games in a row with some really impressive wins, and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith both missed times during that period. I mean,
I
that
mean,
tells you
it.
exactly what the offense is.
I don't even know what. I wonder how many interceptions Jalen's thrown in that night in this 9 game winning streak.
Well, I mean, you're right. You just watch him. He's being so careful with the ball.
He is.
And to be honest, this is what we were complaining about in the first 4 games, was he was holding the ball too long. That's where all the fumbles were coming from. There was times where we're like, just throw it away or just take the sack, and he wasn't doing that. He was forcing the ball, and it was just missing. I think the biggest concern right now, because I can live with the conservative game calling, mostly because Saquon Barkley is just awesome, but Hurts missing guys. That's what I'm worried about. Like there's being safe, and then there's just being, not taking what's there.
Yeah.
You can't be afraid to take it when it's there. But I
Let's
mean,
see. He's only, I mean, he's only thrown over 300 yards once, and it was against the Saints.
oh, he
He's
hasn't had
typically in the
to.
200, but the last couple games has been in the hundreds.
Well, look, because I mean, we had the same conversation the other way. I was saying I'm worried about Saquon Barkley getting 30 carries a game, but this is the alternate to that. When Hertz is only throwing for 20 attempts and 100 yards or whatever it is, naturally you're going to run the ball more, and Saquon's going to get 30 carries.
He,
Now, if we started airing it out, it would go the other way. Hertz would throw it 30 times. Maybe Saquon's getting 15 carries, but maybe you throw an interception in there. And then you're just going to sit there wondering why your best player is not getting more touches.
yeah, sure. But if I told you that if we're gonna have a 9 game winning streak, our running back is gonna be leading the league in rushing, and Jalen Hurts will have thrown one interception in 9 games. I
Oh, I
think
mean,
I think
that's
99% of the fan base would say that sounds fucking awesome.
that's a
So
winning with the defense we have, that's a winning game plan.
like I don't I get it like but that's why you have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. So when you are forced to pass, you have two. I'll say Devontae's top 15, but you have a top five in AJ, and you don't have to worry about player like making plays. Like you have those elite players there. Um, so I'm not too concerned. I think against the Steelers, this will be another good test because that's a really good defense.
Yeah.
Um, I think similar to the Baltimore, that in that they're better against the run than the pass, but um,
I mean, that we've played a lot of teams that are in that situation. It doesn't really matter. Now,
yeah,
the one thing they're really lacking that I need to see improve, and I could understand the frustrations with Brown and Smith for this. You run the ball so well. Where is the play action? Where is the deep shots downfield? Like you should be able to hit AJ Brown on a play action deep ball at least once a game. Like you got teams selling out for the run. How have we not? When is the last time you can remember a play action pass going for deep yards? It doesn't even look like they're even there, like in the play calls.
I will say,
Where is the big shot? Like if AJ Brown caught 3 balls, but they were, for, a combined 70 yards, I guarantee you he won't be complaining. It's just if you're not going to throw the ball 10 times to him and rely on him on, driving up and down the field, set up something big for him.
yeah, I mean, I think I agree. I would like to see more deep shots to, keep the defense honest. But again, it's like it's not sexy, but we don't need to. Like it's just what we're doing now is effective. And keep in mind, you take away all those yards Jalen gets on the ground because he's been running with his legs a lot more.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
you can convert those into passing yards, and his numbers look a lot better. But um, I'm not. I think they've just been conservative in the pass game. I don't think they've. I think it's been by design. I don't think it's been Jalen can't or the offense can't figure out like a good play. I mean, Dotson, it'd be nice if he would show up to the games instead of, having one target every game.
Yeah.
Um, Now I will agree with you in that the deep shot thing's a concern because half of AJ's and Devontae's catches, I swear, are just 10-yard outs. Like they'll run 10
Well,
yards and,
yeah,
and do a dig and come right back and catch the ball.
exactly.
And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like they both like especially AJ, like the amount of yards after catch he gets, but let's open it up. I mean, they're both like AJ is a demon athlete, like super fast, super strong, can like get up and get the ball. Like take advantage of that. Like, do you remember the last time we played the Steelers and he caught that touchdown over like two Steelers defenders and did a little
Oh,
point
yeah.
at him?
I mean, I think that's like you're
This will
not gonna
be you. I know this will be a big AJ game because every time he complains, they're like, "All right, let's get you the ball."
I
So
just think this is what you're missing. You're missing the explosive passing plays, and they should be pretty easy because of how well you're running the ball. Where is the explosive plays? You like Saquon's giving you such an advantage. Like I get it. If you're not gonna throw the ball 30 times a game, then set up something big for AJ or Smith. Like they're too good. They're both healthy now. I think that was also a big thing. They were both out. It's hard
yeah,
for you to really get a rhythm when they're both missing time as much as they
I mean,
were.
how many games have we had Goddard, AJ, and Devontae all on the same field at the same time? Like I feel like one of them
Exactly.
is rotating out every
I mean, put
week.
it this way. If you want to stack the box, if you want to put seven guys in the box, put three out wide, you're pretty much guaranteed man coverage on both AJ Brown, Devontae Smith.
And
And
one
if
of
they
them will
want
be it.
to,
Yeah,
yeah, and if they want to go double team one of them, then oh my God, you're talking about man coverage with no safety help.
exactly. And even when they're doing that, they're not stopping Saquon or the line. So like, why even?
That's what I mean, dude. That's
Because you kill
what
the
this.
clock and you get effective yards. And but I don't know. I think also some people are worried about Saquon's workload, but I think on the
Well, yeah,
opposite,
definitely.
somewhat. But I think on the opposite side, if you decide to flip your game plan, you're going to be, let's just say, 70% throw, 30% run. You have to keep in mind as an athlete, Saquon's not staying fresh. He's not getting reps. His body is not staying warm from movement all the time. So asking him to then go in and run the ball, a couple times in a row, that also is like overwork and underwork can cause injury. So I think like you were saying, I could see more balance the last four games, especially because they probably want to bring Saquon's workload down a bit leading up to the
Well,
playoffs.
yeah, I mean, I think 20
But
carries, like he had 20 carries this past week. I
20
think that
carries is
is
perfect.
very, yeah. I mean, look at the balance. 20 carries, Jalen had 21 attempts. You're still
Yeah,
keeping it very
he's
balanced. I
taken
mean, that's,
a lot of runs. I'm a little
well,
worried
I
about
mean,
that too.
well, he did have 8 carries himself. I mean, but he had 8 carries for 60 yards. So
Yeah.
that aspect of the game is helping a lot. Now, he takes some shots that I think are unnecessary. You want to talk about someone you want to keep fresh. His running game, I mean, let's put it, the offensive philosophy right now is to run the ball heavy with Saquon and to run the ball with Jalen. Don't take any unnecessary risk passing the ball and setting up easy passes. Because there's some spots where they're there if he wants to take it, but he's clearly being told, do not risk it. Only hit it when it's there. Um, and I mean, that's the game plan right now. But then again, this is what the game plan's got you on a 9-game win streak. So, maybe AJ Brown's pissed off right now, but when he's playing in the playoffs, as opposed to, you know, Jamar Chase breaking every record in the world, but sitting at home, you have to decide which one you want.
Yeah. I don't know. I just
Now, one thing I will say on this, and I was shocked. Thoughts on the Brandon Graham bringing it up? I just like, is he not part of the team anymore? Did he just get hurt and decide, oh, well, I'm out?
so I was just literally just reading an article about this. Like I have looking at it right now. So when he went on WIP, it sounded like he mis like construed his words and saying that they're not whatever. They're not friends. They're teammates now or whatever. And but like he meant like, oh, they were friends before. Now they're teammates, so it's a little different relationship. And
He
now,
directly pointed the finger at two guys and leaned one way than the
yeah,
other.
but he's now saying that he made a mistake in saying anything, and that
Like
he
that was
kind of
obvious.
assumed things. I'm like, why are you like now you're making it worse by saying you assumed something was wrong and you didn't actually know.
It
I
makes
was
it
like,
seem
that's
like
very
he
out of
either
character for BG. I don't.
that would have been a bad look if your backup wide receiver went and said it. The fact that your captain of your team, the veteran, the franchise cornerstone went out and said it is just embarrassing. Like that's what bad franchises do. You know, Micah Parsons sprinting to his podcast to vent off his frustrations after that brutal loss. Like that's what the Cowboys do. Now, granted, their season's well over, but dude, like this seems like something you do when you're retired and the game's over. You are still part of this team. Keep your shit out of the media. At least when Alshon Jeffrey said stuff, it was, anonymous sources.
Yeah, Alshon
Hitting,
Jeffrey was a fucking trip.
I just think it's just such a bad look. And you know what?
You mean
That's what makes
just
these things worse.
what was her name? Justina Anderson. That was his anonymous
Yeah. I
leaker.
mean, like, I think that's more or less what made it even worse. Like, I get it. Brown was pissed off. Smith was a little pissed off. They're still one nine
11
game
and
winning
2.
streak.
We're 11 and
Yeah.
2. What the fuck are we doing?
They just won against the Panthers. It's just stuff like BG saying this. It puts hot metal, it just sets the whole thing on fire.
I just don't.
Listen, you keep winning. You'll be fine. I mean, it would be nice to see the passing game open up a little bit, but this offensive game plan is clearly working. You know, he can be pissed off while playing in the Super Bowl. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. They weren't having these passing problems, that Super Bowl year. So I think they'll be fine. They'll figure it out. I I don't I mean, to be honest, and I don't want to sound cocky, but the Lions have kind of tapered off offensively. They haven't been scoring at such a high level as the first, of the last couple weeks. And their defense is pretty distraught right now. I still view them as a big threat, but
I mean, I
besides,
still, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not sleeping on them at all. I think they still look great. I think it's more
no, that's what I'm
impressive that
saying. That's what I'm saying.
they just keep winning.
I think they are more beatable now than they were a couple weeks ago. But I think besides the Lions, I'm not scared of the Vikings. The
No, I'm
Rams
not
are
scared of
the
anyone.
Rams are kind of. I mean, we
You
beat the
just
Rams
handled the
obviously,
Rams.
but
I'm not worried about that. Like it is the Lions and the Eagles, and I actually think it's neck to neck.
yeah, I
Where I
agree.
think the Lions were a little higher a couple weeks ago. It is neck to neck, and then it's 3 miles lower everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you give the Eagles defense the nod, obviously, and then the slight nod to the Lions offense right now. But yeah,
I just think, well, I mean, the Lions offense is kind of what we're saying the Eagles aren't. They are multi-dimensional. They don't rely
yeah,
on either, and I think that helps because Golf is a quarterback that is safe throws, doesn't turn the ball over,
mm.
doesn't want to be too aggressive. I mean, we saw it when he threw 5 interceptions and they still won. He definitely can, when you ask him to do too much, he definitely can turn the ball over. But between the two running backs that they have and a great offensive line, they don't have to ever rely on that solely.
I was about to say I'm assuming we're gonna have another rule break in the studs and duds and have a losing game player.
Yeah, I was feeling that. No, I
You
was gonna
have
give him a,
to.
s-
You have to.
I was gonna give him a special honorable mention, but I guess I can give it to him.
Um, but real quick on the defensive side, I mean, they held up. I mean, even they had some. I mean, I'll give Bryce Young credit. He is fucking slippery. We
Yeah,
should have had like 5 sacks against him, and he broke a couple big plays out. That like what 3rd and 17 on like the goal line, it pissed me off so
I
bad.
know.
That was
Yeah,
vintage old Eagles. I'm like, come on, I thought we were
just
past
letting him
this.
go. Yeah, but you know what? That's part of like I don't necessarily think like we struggled to the point of the Panthers. I just think this was a desperate team
Oh
that were
yeah,
doing desperate things. Like I mean, there were some fourth down conversions they went for that no team actually in the running would ever do. There
and they
was like, I
also
mean.
they also had that Jalen Carter tip on 4th down that happened to
Yeah, the
fall right
fourth
into
and
Ian
two in the
Thielen's
red zone.
hands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How many ridiculous third and plus 10 conversions did they have?
we had
They had the extra fourth down conversion in the first half that
another
they
one
went
of
for.
another one of our receivers got face masks and it wasn't called. So
Yeah,
there's plenty of
I'm not worried. This game doesn't change any opinion of the Eagles, in my opinion. Like what they did against Washington, against the Rams, against Baltimore, is the Eagles. I don't think
yeah.
what you saw against the Panthers is the Eagles. So I'm not
Yeah,
worried. They
and
won. Who cares?
I and I'm worried now because I could see I would say Steelers is 50-50 right now. I think the Eagles are definitely the better team, but I could see them losing. And I don't want this to turn into like a oh, here comes the turmoil. Like, oh, now after last week's like close win, now everything's falling apart. Like, let's not get that
We'll see
narrative
what
going.
happens if the narrative is this. AJ goes for over 100 plus receiving yards and we lose. That's the other thing you look at. Like you're talking about changing a philosophy that's clearly working just to appease one player.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I'm not worried. I think all the everything's getting overblown a little bit. Remember when AJ
yeah.
was, constantly yelling at Jalen Hurts last year? Now last year turned
Mm.
into like flames, but yeah, I think we're all right. We're in a good spot. I'm not concerned.
Yeah, it was nice to see on defensively. I mean, Jalen Carter once again absolutely wrecking people. I've never seen a defensive like besides I guess Aaron Donald get off a block so fast. Like as soon as the ball was snapped, he was pushing people out of his way. It was pretty wild.
Do we have three levels of all pro players? Like, is Jalen Carter, Zach Baum, and Quinyon Mitchell all pro players?
Yeah,
I mean, I think,
yeah,
well, Baum's got my vote. Him and Fred Warner, I think, are the only linebackers really playing at elite level. Carter's
it's
there.
crazy.
Quinyon, I mean, the guy's a ghost.
When
You don't hear
Yanamo
his
Bay.
name. Yeah, he takes the Namdi approach. Like he's so good because you never hear him.
Well, Namdi on the Raiders, not Namdi on the
Well, yeah,
Eagles.
no, 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 not the Eagles. Like a
Um,
guy you won't hear his name mentioned once the entire game, but you're like, nah, he's really good. He's so good.
but I'm happy for Slay though because he did have a rough game in the beginning, and then when it counted most, he was able to make two fourth quarter deflections that were huge. Obviously the last play of the game, deflecting the ball to Thielen. Uh, he's still a gamer. He's just a little slower.
I mean, it is what it
He's
is. You
33
can't
years old.
rely
I don't know what people would
exactly,
expect of
yeah.
him.
I mean, you have a lockdown corner in Mitchell. You will be okay. If Slay
Yeah.
was our number one corner, we'd have a big problem.
Yeah, I'm not Slay can give up a couple plays here and there. I'm not too concerned.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, overall, and Gardner Johnson's getting, turnovers again, which is nice, laying big hits.
yeah.
So just gotta
I'd
make sure
like.
everyone stays healthy and
I think I mean, you're nitpicking right now because they're still winning. Passing game and offense, I'd like to see. I mean, you're not going to get away from the run
what
because
am I
it's winning, but
nitpicking?
I'd
I
like
said
to
only good
see.
things.
Well, this is my nitpicking.
Okay.
I'd like to see them get more explosive
Yes.
and take advantage of play action and pass game. And I'd like to see a little bit more in the turnover department on defense.
Yeah, I'd like to see more yeah, more corner interceptions. We're getting safety and safety picks a lot.
I mean, it helps, but still, be a little more aggressive on the ball. But all in all, pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. Um, all right. So there were other games, of course. We just like to talk about the birds a lot. Thursday, it was weird that they had two teams play back-to-back Thursday games, but
Yeah.
uh, Packers and the Lions played uh pretty solid game. The Lions ended up winning 34-31 on a last second field goal.
Yeah.
Um,
Dan Campbell, man, being really aggressive. You got to give him credit now.
that shit was ballsy.
That was ballsy. Actually, now that I looked past it, like back on a little bit more, I like it. Like I really like it. I think it was just the obvious decision
What
almost.
was it? 4th and 2?
Yeah, it was 4th and 2, but I mean, you get that you win the game.
Yeah. And if
You
not, you
know,
tie. And how much time was left? There's like a
they
minute.
had like 42 seconds, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, I thought it was the right move. At first, like when you're talking about it, it's concerning. You're like, what the hell are they doing?
Hmm.
So yeah, it's 43 seconds left, 4th and 1, obviously on the Green Bay 21. So you're already in deep territory. Um, Green Bay has one timeout left. So you don't get it, then you're tied. They have 20 to 40 seconds, basically one timeout to drive the field, and kick the field goal. But essentially, if you kick the field goal there anyway, you're giving them the ball back at pretty much the same spot, but this time you have the lead.
I
Nothing
I
really
did
would have
like it.
changed too much.
I was at first I was like, what the hell is he thinking? And I was like, you know what? I
It's
kind
the
of like
same
this.
exact situation. You would get the ball in the 21, or you get the ball on, say, the 25 if there's a touchback or whatever they put it out to. But you would have the lead or you have a tie. You just gotta, yeah, listen. Do you want to put them in the same situation and roll in overtime, or do you want to just end it here?
Yeah.
40 seconds and one timeout, that's, not necessarily guaranteed.
Yeah. But
But yeah, no, I don't think my opinion changed on either team. Lions still look great. I think the Packers are a good team.
yeah, I think both teams are definitely playoff. I mean, we saw what the Packers did in the playoffs last year, but um, this game I didn't really hear much out of. But Steelers beat the Browns 27-14. Um, seemed
What
like
do
a
you,
pretty
yeah, what
defensive
do you,
game, but
the Steelers won comfortably. That's
yeah,
pretty much exactly what you
yeah.
would have expected.
Uh, might be toilet bowl game of the week. The Saints beat the Giants 14-11.
That's a toilet bowl score right there.
Um, the Giants looked like they were avidly trying to lose the game. You had Drew Lock had it was like 3rd and 6, I think, and he started scrambling and he literally had like 10 yards if he just ran straight forward. And instead, he went sideways to the sideline and got tackled short of the first down. And I was like, what are they doing? And then they missed a field goal.
The
So
Giants are gonna Giants.
yeah, they are not. They're trying to get the number one pick. So
Yeah, well, it's probably the best for them.
um, and Denny Dimes is now a Minnesota Viking. So
That is true. Forgot about him.
speaking of, the Vikings trampled the Falcons 42-21, and Kirk Cousins returned to Minnesota. Um, he has been on a historically bad streak. Uh, not good, not a good look for Kirk.
Yeah, things have
Um,
changed quite a bit on that team.
not sure what happened.
They beat the Eagles and then everything's not looked great ever since.
Yeah, I don't, I don't know how many weeks it's been, but he hasn't thrown a touchdown in a while, apparently. I don't know if he did.
What's your thoughts now as a Falcons fan?
I'm not a
Um,
Falcons fan.
well, yeah, but whatever. Your your reason for like always having all these offensive weapons, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, who's a complete bust,
Hmm.
Bijan Robinson. The only thing that was holding them back was no quarterback. You go bring in Kirk Cousins, who is a solid quarterback. Surely, if you had this awesome offense, you should have been able to score some points. And it's kind of the same. I mean, they're doing a little bit better, but not too much different than what Desmond Ritter was giving you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Cousins is definitely better than Ritter, but
Desmond Ritter could have definitely gone out there 23-37, two interceptions, no touchdowns.
I mean, say the same about Zach Wilson, and he won more games with the Jets last year than Rodgers did. So
But still, it's even look at Bijan Robinson, 22 carries, 92 yards. Like, did we just overvalue? Obviously, Pitts, Drake London is maybe
I feel like
mediocre.
Pitts
Maybe
kind of
Bijan.
died out too. He had a hot
He's
start,
a
and
complete
then
bust. Complete bust.
uh,
I'm on the bandwagon of he's a complete bust. I don't. That's the thing, man. I feel like they get a pass. I
hmm.
feel like it's not Kyle Pitts or Drake London's fault. It's Desmond Ritter. Now it's Kirk Cousins.
That's Ritter's like a Raider now. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what's happening there, but the Dolphins beat the Jets 32-26. The Jets continue to lose. Aaron Rodgers continues to put blame on everybody else.
Who do you blame this week?
I don't know, but he, I forget what it was, something along the lines of like he wouldn't just admit that he hasn't played well this year. I don't know, but
At this point, who even cares? They stink.
yeah. Um, Another toilet bowl game. The Jaguars beat the Titans 10-6. Boy, I wonder who watched the battle of Mac
Sheesh,
Jones versus
that's a toilet bowl
Will
score too.
Levis. Oh man. Yeah, we don't need to break that game down. Um, Eagles beat the Panthers 22-16. The Buccaneers beat the Raiders 28-13. Um, do we think Pierce gets fired, or do they let him kind of get a pass this year?
Um,
feel like
I'd give him a pass.
I
What
feel
did
like
you
you
expect
have
was going to
to.
happen?
Yeah.
If you
No
bring it, if
quarterback. I
like
mean,
if you hired him, because you obviously had him interim the year before, and then you hired him for this. This is his first season. What did you think was going to happen? He was just going to win immediately?
yeah. I get the need to win now mentality that every owner has, but like
Look at their
you
roster.
got to
It is
build a
so
team. You
bad.
got to build a
Their
camaraderie
team is
and
awful. Like
community.
there's no players. And Max Crosby's great. Christian Wilkins was a big signing. Brock Bowers was a great pick.
Yeah.
But who else is on that team? Can you name me another Raider? Because now that Adams, I'd really struggle just to name a player.
Isn't like Amir Abdullah on that team or something?
Amir Abdullah is on that team. Look at
Yeah.
you. You must have picked him up on your waiver wire.
I almost did because I was sore for running backs. Um, yeah, yeah, they're rough. They're rough. Maybe next year, Raiders fans,
Amir Abdullah getting you a solid 1 carry for 1 yard and
big time.
1 reception for -3. Now
That's
that's a waiver
impressive.
wire pickup right
That
there.
that is impressive. Um, the Seahawks beat Arizona.
Actually, hold on.
Oh,
Sorry. Can I throw one out to you?
sure.
Do you know who the Las Vegas leading rusher was in this game?
Was there a quarterback?
No, it was Sincere McCormick.
Who?
Yeah, it sounds like a 90s Irish, folk singer.
How do you? Is he a running back? Is he a receiver? What?
I believe he's a running back. He wears
Oh,
number 28. He had 15 carries, but Sincere McCormick, never heard of him in my entire
15 carries
life.
for how many yards?
78.
Oh,
Not
that's pretty
bad.
good.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, it's just the team's just not very good. Both their quarterbacks fumbled a ball.
Yeah, I don't know what their deal is. Sincere McCormick from UTSA.
There you go. The
I don't even know.
Texas San Antonio.
Oh yeah, the Roadrunners.
Wow, fun.
Nice. All right. Next, Seahawks beat the Cardinals 30 to 18. Their defense
And
played pretty well for Seattle and
you did. And
caused
clinched us a playoff spot.
they clinched a playoff spot, you said?
Well, the Eagles clinched the playoff spot because the Arizona lost. So thank you,
Oh,
Seattle.
yeah, thank you, Seattle. Um, who's the McBride, the tight end for the Cardinals? Was a touchdown away from me winning $1,000. I was really upset about that. He had like two targets in
Oh,
the end zone.
where's my violin?
Yeah, bro, it's every week. Every week I'm like one or two hits away. It's been terrible. I could be swimming in money,
Mm,
but Vegas always wins.
that's true.
Um, but yeah, Seahawks. I mean, Seahawks and Rams, I think, are kind of the clear cut now. I think the Niners are still too banged up to really compete for that division.
Oh, speaking of Niners versus Bears, man, that was
But
the Niners looked great. Like they looked at like everything we thought they would be.
but
I
it was
mean,
the Bears.
they cooked. So we're getting to the end of the season, so we're getting a funeral season. I think it's fair we bow our heads in a moment of silence.
Hmm.
The Chicago Bears, I think, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're done there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Here we are, rest the Chicago Bears. Tough season. I mean, yeah, they're done. Now the Niners are a team that I was getting ready to have a moment of silence, but I'm back
Mm.
in on them. I'm not writing
Mm.
them off yet. I guess it helps to play the Bears every once in a while because they looked pretty good. They could do whatever they wanted on offense. And my God, they were ruining Caleb Williams. 7 sacks. You know, he's the most sacked quarterback in NFL history, I believe I saw. I
Really?
think that was what. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's the most sacked quarterback in the league right now.
I was
But
gonna say,
he's on historic pace. And he's sacked over 50 times or something.
damn.
Yeah, no, he's going down, man. It makes you think maybe it's not Justin Fields or Mitch Trubisky. Maybe it's just the Bears. They just
Oh, it's
truly,
definitely the Bears because they've had those quarterbacks have had, spotty success, but they've none of them have ever had a good offensive line.
yeah. So
And and
he,
and this is the best wide receiver core they've ever had in I would say Bears history. Like So it's I don't know. They're a weird team for sure.
So the NFL record for sacks in a game is 76 for David Carr.
He
Yeah,
gets beat
it's
up.
got to feel bad for David
Yeah.
Carr. His rookie year with the expansion Texans. Talk about a
His
job no one
rookie
wanted there.
year. Hmm.
Yeah, it was the Texans' first season,
What was that 2001?
two
3?
and two
Close. I think
potential.
Jalen's at like 35 or something like that.
Well, Caleb was at 56, so it's not necessarily close. So the
It's fair.
record all time is 76 by David Carr. So he is
Mhm.
20 sacks off with I guess four
Four
games left.
games,
Yeah.
five
Now we got to be
games.
fair.
Yeah, he probably won't break that
You got to
record.
knock one off because David did it in 16 games.
Ooh, yeah, he's not going to
That's
break it.
pretty, geez, man, the math of that. What are you getting sacked at least 5 times a game?
Imagine as a rookie like that,
Oh,
that'll break you.
surely he had no chance of succeeding.
Did he have
Literally no
Andre
chance.
Johnson is starting it with his rookie year?
I don't think he knew if he had Andre Johnson or not. He
He had no
just kept
time to
letting.
drop back, and he's on the ground, and he's on the ground.
You know what? I'm happy that David Carr got drafted first overall in the era when there wasn't any price slots for rookies, where the first overall pick was getting like $100 million contracts before they played a game. He deserved it. But yeah, no, Caleb's not in a great spot. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But for right now, the Bears are definitely dead,
I'm
and
actually
Caleb Williams might be too if he keeps this up.
I'm actually curious. All right, blindly guessing. Do you think whoever the sack leader was that year, do you think he got a sack on Derek Carr or David Carr?
Well, I mean, that could be completely different. I mean, they might not even played each other. So 0-2,
Just take a guess.
sack leader in 0-2.
I'm trying to figure it out right now.
I'm gonna say 0-2. Doesn't seem right, but I'm gonna say Dwight Freeney led the league, and of course, yes, he did. He probably had 6 sacks on him.
Um, not wasn't Dwight Freeney.
Hmm.
Hold on. Trying to see if I can get
Probably someone that
2002. Did he play Houston? He did not play Houston.
who was the sack leader?
Played for the Dolphins.
Jason Taylor. That was what I was gonna say. It was between him and Freeney. Damn.
Let's see. Just for funsies. Oh, we got an Eagle in a top five. Jason Taylor finished number one, 18 and a half. Simeon Rice with the Bucks,
Mm.
15 and a half. Dwight
0-2
Freeney, these
defense.
numbers are pretty low. Dwight Freeney, 13 with the
Yeah, but
Colts.
it wasn't a passing league like it is
Yeah.
now.
Andre Carter of the Niners, 12 and a
Kind
half.
of, you know what makes it even more impressive that he got sacked 76 times in an era
Ye-
when they weren't passing the ball.
Yeah.
That's like literally every single drop back.
Um, and then fifth place, 2002, Hugh Douglas of the Philadelphia Eagles,
Wow,
12
there
and
you
a
go,
half
Hugh.
sacks. Yeah.
All right. Well, I didn't see us going over the top 10, top five of 2002 sack leaders on today's
Oh,
episode, but I think we need to
keep you
get back on
guessing.
track here.
Go ahead.
So where are we wrapping up? I think, well, arguably the game of the year, man. Josh Allen having a historic effort in a losing effort to the Rams.
Sheesh.
You know who I gotta say I'm all aboard their bandwagon. I wasn't on it going into the year, but man, Puka Nacua is a top 5 wide receiver in the league. He's so good,
He's pretty
and
good.
I apologize to Puka for not getting on this bandwagon sooner. I wasn't familiar with his game,
Did you not
but
have him in your
watching that
top
game,
10?
I don't think so. And I think he was an
Was it just
honorable.
me and Josh had him in our top 10?
Just complete disrespect. Didn't deserve it. I completely apologize.
So you apologize to Puka, and I can apologize to Trey Hendrickson.
Oh,
Uh,
I mean, that was an obvious one.
but you carry on.
I mean, if you want on that, can we just notice that Kieran Williams and Derrick Henry both having very good seasons, and I'm the only one that had both of them in the list.
Well, Kyron Williams had a really rough start to his season, and then he started catching fire. But
I mean, still,
he's not, I
there's
don't think he's top four running back right now. Like you would
well,
literally have him, but
he's top 5 in rushing yards, so
well, that's
and
new.
he leads the league in rushing touchdowns.
Must have just happened because he hasn't been.
Yeah. Oh no, I apologize. He's not leading. He's number 4 in rushing touchdowns and number 5 in rushing yards. So just me on point, just getting that both of them. Yeah. At least you had Derrick Henry. I'll give you that. But yeah, incredible game. Went back and forth. Very entertaining to watch. Um, Game of the year.
I'd probably say so.
Yeah.
Um,
Up there with that Ravens and Bengals game from not too long ago. That was a pretty good one.
yeah, I mean, uh, I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I did say Josh Allen was going to win MVP, which I mean wasn't far-fetched to say, but it's he's so he'll have a game where he'll throw like two interceptions, 150 yards, and like they'll somehow win a game, and then he'll throw for whatever he threw for, have six total touchdowns, be just dominant on the ground and through the air, and still lose. Like he's perplexing. He's just a great pure athlete, though. Like that's
Yeah.
some players just have it. Um, like you could put him in any position, he'd probably be a really good edge rusher too. Like he's probably
Yeah.
just a great athlete. But
It's true. I mean, he's
yeah,
definitely
so
he's caught on to it.
Rams held on 44-42 on that one, and then Chargers almost beat the Chiefs, but they lost on a field goal that hit the goalpost and fell in, 19-17. Man, the
Mm,
Chiefs just
yeah.
it's never pretty, but they just find ways to win. So
Yeah, I mean, that's like part of me, I really they really look lackluster. Not even in some of the numbers or anything. Mahomes takes a lot of sacks. He's
he,
under pressure a
I thought
lot.
he's always kind of been
Yeah, but
he always holds on to the ball a long time, I feel like, because he's trying to like find the big play.
well, I think part of it is no one's getting open, but I think also part of it, I mean, this is a new element to his game now. He moves around that pocket so well. I mean,
Hmm.
just his awareness and be able to get out of the pocket and scramble, and then you're basically screwed. You can either go after Patrick Mahomes and he throws it over your head, or you can just stay back in coverage and he just runs for 10 yards. You know, he's not Lamar Jackson or anything, but he's so smart in getting out of the
Yeah.
pocket. But I did see a couple plays that I think coordinators are going to keep an eye on. Bosa did it a couple times. Mac did. They rushed down the outside and then they retreated back into the center before Mahomes broke the pocket, and they were basically just
Hmm.
waiting for him. So definitely something curious to see.
I still think they'll be fine. They'll still be in the AFC
Oh yeah,
Championship game.
they're still the leading contender.
But yeah, we'll see. And then the Monday night game was surprisingly entertaining. The Bengals beat the Cowboys 27-20, very back and forth. They had like three ties at different points throughout the game.
Bengals
Um,
must see TV, man. That's
yeah, Jamar
incredible.
Chase, 177 yards, two touchdowns. Joe Burrow, four straight games with over 300 yards. They're it's crazy because Burrow is number one in passing touchdowns, passing yards, and like I think passer rating or something, or some other stat. And then Jamar is currently leading the triple crown of yards, touchdowns, and catches for a receiver. So you would think that they'd be doing better than 5-8, but nope,
Yeah,
nope. Their defense is atrocious, and
it took them receiving a blocked punt to get a
I don't
win.
think I've ever seen
I
that.
didn't know that was a rule. I'm like shocked. Like when they recovered it, I was like, they're still not at the first down line. Why?
Well,
Like,
so when that happened, I was like, oh, that sucks that they couldn't like, get a first down after
yeah,
recovering it. Because that's what I thought. That's how that
I
worked.
assumed. Yeah, me too.
And then I walked away and I came back and I was like, the Bengals have the ball again. What? The Dallas must have turned it over. And then after Jamar scored, they like went back and like showed the punting, and I was like, how did that work? And apparently, because Dallas touched it on a block, once it passes the line of scrimmage and touches a Dallas player, or like I guess once it passes the line of scrimmage going the opposite way, it's a fair ball for any team to kick. It's weird how that works, but
Yeah, I don't. Well, I mean, it can't happen very often.
I mean, because typically if you block a punt, it's not going backwards; it's going to go the opposite
It's true.
way.
That's the
So
Cowboys right there.
yeah, yeah. And then Micah
Hilarious.
was distraught, like you said, and went on. Didn't even he left the field immediately. Didn't even shake hands with players. Just wanted to get on his podcast and
Listen, man, if that if I if that's how I lost that game, I'd probably handle it the same way.
I'm
That was
very honestly
one of the worst losses I've seen.
on that
Just
topic.
because you know what it was? It was the quick out, and Jamar Chase just sprinted for the easiest touchdown
Oh
I think
yeah.
he's ever scored.
Oh
That made
yeah.
it even worse.
Did you watch the weird like Simpsons thing?
I didn't know. I was kind of looking forward to it. How what's the thoughts?
I don't know. I didn't. It was on ESPN Plus, so I didn't watch it.
I saw the I used
I saw
I've
some
seen
clips.
the NHL one they do, and I really like that one. I thought the NHL one they do is really cool.
I think it was
Um,
funny though because the Jamar touchdown. I'm trying to make sure I have the names. So Bart threw the ball to Lisa, and she juked out Homer to score the touchdown, which is pretty funny. But yeah, I didn't get to. I didn't. I was gonna watch a little bit of it, and then I saw it was in ESPN Plus. I was like, I don't have that. I'm not giving you money to watch it. So
mm,
um, yeah, I just caught some clips that the NFL put on their social media. But I didn't watch the Toy Story. Well, I think last year was what, Toy Story?
Toy Story, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to see that one either. But
Well, you are a grown adult man. I don't think they're making these for you.
no, I mean it's still interesting to see the ways they're trying to connect with different fan bases, though.
Yeah.
Different
I think
what
they're
goes
okay
there,
with the 30 white male demographic, though. I don't think necessarily they need to work on that one.
especially watching the Dallas and Cincinnati games.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think it's so interesting that we live in an age where a player will lose a game and then he'll go on like a stream and play a game and talk to people or go on a podcast and rant about things. I think it's
To
a
be fair,
I think it's a
it's not.
double-edged sword. I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, it's not too different than what we've seen before. We used to see a lot of bad press conferences.
Hmm.
Players go out in the press conference and they're pissed off, and you could see it, and then they start saying stuff. You don't really see the press conference moments anymore because most of them just say it in podcasts and interviews.
Yeah, but we shall see. But that's a wrap on week 14. So we have 4 weeks left of the regular season. So if your team is not in playoff contention, you got 4 games left to enjoy football, which is it's very sad because January to like March is super depressing. We don't even
Oh,
have we
yeah.
have basketball and hockey, and then I mean March Madness that starts the happiness
Yeah, but you
again.
got to struggle for 2 months. I really don't understand what people that don't like football do during January, February.
I don't know,
That baffles me.
depressed in a
Uh,
corner.
yeah. Okay. Well, kicking off studs duds. Obviously we won, but there's a lot of
Hmm.
toxicity in the air. What mood are we in?
So toxicity, huh? Yeah. So let's dispel the toxicity by doing the duds first, and then rise with the studs.
Let's rise with the studs. Okay, we can rise with the studs, like cream. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
All right. This dud list, I'm not gonna lie, this was tough to sort out. I had three pretty solid ones, but it was just kind of tough to sort out who's gonna be where. So we're gonna kick off with the third dud here. This one's the funniest dud we're gonna have all year. And truly, listen, I'm gonna put up my argument, the Jason Hayward effect, where if you win your championship that year, no matter what happens, it's considered a good year.
Okay.
I mean, Kadarius Toney had made a career out of this because I don't
Yes.
know how he's still in the league. Like he wins one Super Bowl, and it's like he can do nothing wrong. Like he can still be in the league no matter what. I don't get it. Like because he made a good punt return in the Super Bowl, people are just going to keep throwing him out there for whatever reason.
Mhm.
Baffles me. But I mean, to one fumble the ball, and then I've never seen anyone get a personal foul on a fair catch. Like talk about the childness in you. So Kadarius Toney, after getting a personal foul 15-yard penalty on a fair catch and then fumbling his next punt attempt away, I'm pretty sure he's never going to see the field again. He'll probably get another chance in his career because, the Jason Hayward effect. But yeah, so he's kicking off our dud list. A hilarious inclusion.
I I didn't even know he was on the team until
Didn't
that
either.
happened. It was the Browns, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I mean, he's lucky
Typical
that there's franchises like the Browns available. I'd say like the Giants would pick him up, but they've already done that. So like he's running out of like the train wreck franchises. He's already gone to many of them.
Jets, Jets, Jets,
I mean,
Jets.
it's really the only one he has left, to be honest with you.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Alrighty. Moving on. I'm going with guy we touched on already. Really starting to think, where's the season going to go? They're 6-7. The division's still wide open because it's a fairly weak division. Started
Hmm.
out as the best division in all of sports in the beginning. Now it's as garbage as we thought it would be. But 23 of 37, no tutties, gave you two interceptions in a game that was a shootout, did not come out shooting. Mr. Kirk Cousins finds his way second spot against his former team. And man, the Vikings were more excited for this revenge game than Cousins was.
Yeah, that was surprising. I thought he would have. You know what? I think he realized. You know what? I'm not. I don't really like getting banged up, and but for $40 million, I'll just kind of sit here in the pocket and pretend I give a fuck. So I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't know what's going on because he looked good first like 5 weeks, and then everything turned to
Fell off.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, moving on to this next one. Now, Dakota, before I get in my little thing, I'm just going to give you the name. You
Okay.
tell me who this man is, and I'll give you a round of applause. So, my
Okay.
first stud is Eric Washington.
Eric Washington. Can't say I know Mr. Washington.
No? So, Eric Washington
Probably plays for like the
is,
Titans or something.
nope, Eric Washington is the defensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears.
Oh, didn't know.
Now, I saw the Niners struggle all year offensively.
Hmm.
They go play the Bears, and suddenly everything is clicking. I mean, I watched that game. Purdy was 20-25. Kittle had a huge game. He had 151 yards on six catches.
Hmm. On
Didn't really do
six
anything.
catches. Damn.
Like there wasn't really any like they ran the ball well. They had 131 yards, but it was like a 3.9 clip, nothing crazy. Outside of Kittle, Jennings had 90 yards receiving. He did have two touchdowns. Like this was a pretty team effort. The Niners could do literally whatever they wanted. The zone scheme that the Bears were running was just being abused. It was every other play someone was wide open. Like it was the same thing. They never changed anything, which was baffling to me.
Hmm.
You think they go to man, like they're missing Ayuk, they're missing McCaffrey. No, they just stuck with whatever ridiculous zone they were running, and they got worked. And I think it's even worse is because Eberflus, with all of his faults, was a defensive guy. I'm pretty sure he called the defensive plays when he was there. He gets fired. Washington gets his chance, and man just fell on his face. 38 from the Niners, team that was really reeling. I think if they lost that game, we'd be bowing our heads for a moment of silence. But Eric Washington giving life to the San Francisco region.
Damn. So I mean, did we bow? I thought we did bow for the Bears.
No, of the Bears we did. Niners, I think we would have
Oh,
bowed if they lost that game to the Bears. We're bowing.
are we calling this Mullins moment of silence? Is that the segment?
We could do it. I'm honored.
Okay.
The Niners and the Bengals are both on death row. Put it that way.
Okay. All right. And I did not expect a defensive coordinator to be on the duds
I'm
list,
telling you,
but
like
keep
this is
me
the
on my
thing.
toes.
Take away the 38 points and George Kill stat line. Like those stats that you saw weren't as bad as what it was. They were wide open.
Hmm.
Every single player was wide open.
All right.
On to our next one.
Mm-hmm.
So kicking off our stud list, this one was a good one to see. There was some big impressive performances. George Kittle, I mentioned, Puka Nacua, even though he is top five, I didn't give him any love on the stud list. Just couldn't do it. I went with a guy lower name, lesser known, took advantage of his shot starting. So Zach Charbonnet, 22 carries, 134, and two tutties on the ground. And hell, why not? Give him 59 receiving yards as well.
Yeah,
So
he did.
nearly 200-yard scrimmage and two tutties.
Yeah,
Not bad.
I've had him on my fantasy bench all season, and
Everyone did.
well, because he's behind Kenneth Walker, but yeah, he played well. I forget what his points were. He had like 30
So
some fantasy points.
you started Amir Abdullah and his minus 2 points over Jack Charbonnet.
No, I did
Is
not
that what you're
start.
talking?
I did not pick up Amir Dula, but I had Zach Charbonnet. He's like 23 or something. He's like really young.
He's only second year in the league, I think.
Yeah. So,
On to the next one. This one is always a controversial one. It's only happened one other time in the history of studs and duds. So this has got to
hmm.
be a monumental moment. It was a record-setting performance. I mean, this is like put my team on my back. We're gonna go win and somehow lost. 42-44 shootout. Josh Allen giving you six of those touchdowns. Three in the air, three on the ground. First time ever doing that. Throwing 342 through the air in the yards and 82 on the ground. Really one hell of a performance. I mean, not much else you can say. It's a record setting performance. All he needed was a win to find his number one spot because What's keeping him from that number one spot is that he lost, and this next quarterback was cooking. This next quarterback, man, give him love because this was the best game he definitely has ever had in his entire career, in the best season he's definitely have had in his entire career. 22 of 28,
Mm,
five touchdowns,
mm,
347 yards.
mm.
And just like Josh Allen, he also put up 42 points. And I'm giving this one to Sam Darnold.
Surprising.
Man, feed it. Look, Addison and Jefferson both went for 133,
They did. Yeah,
132,
they
five
did.
tutties a pop. Man, he was doing whatever he wanted. Five touchdowns on 28 attempts. That's nice.
And he was a backup. He wasn't really supposed to start. It was supposed to be the rookie they were probably going to go with. And then lo and
I mean, hey,
behold.
one guy had six, the other guy had five tutties, but one guy won and the other one didn't. They both put up
Yeah.
42. Got to give love to Darnold. Allen gets plenty of love, but I'm giving Darnold this one.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Uh on to too much was actually because I was just gonna say something and I forgot and then I remembered. Do you think do you think this has been the most exciting NFL we've had in quite some time as far as stats and players come out of nowhere and I mean,
Eh,
would you have predicted Jerry Jeudy would be fifth in the NFL on receiving yards, or that
no.
Josh Allen would have six touchdowns and lose, or Jamar Chase would have 260 receiving yards and lose a game? Like, I feel like it's been a very wild season, like more so than normal.
I think there's been wild moments. I don't know if it's been a wild season.
Hmm.
Um, there's I think there's still a lot of like, I mean, there's always a season like Jamar Chase is having by someone. Cooper Kupp had went for got the Triple Crown not too long ago.
Yeah, I
I mean, the Triple Crown is not like it's never been done before. Derrick Henry
think
pretty much
only
does
four times it's been done for
well, I mean, yeah,
receivers.
four times, but it happened recently. I mean, Derrick Henry has Saquon Barkley's year every single year, and he's having one a year for himself. But
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean
it's been a
he's
good year.
not human, but yeah.
This is definitely the most top-heavy year I can remember.
Yeah, because if you look at there's a lot of there's like a handful of really good teams and then there's like teams that you're like have a lot of issues but are also like winning games like
Like
the
I think it's
Broncos
the
are currently in the wild card, so
well, that's I mean, the Chargers, the Broncos, the Steelers, these are kind of all like in the area teams that
yeah.
aren't bad, they're pretty good. But I think it's the Chiefs and the Bills and the Eagles and the Lions, and it's really not close on either side for the next team. I think the Ravens have fallen off quite a bit. The Packers and the Rams just don't look like they're elite enough. The fact that they lost to both of us definitely doesn't help that either. Um, so yeah, I just think, yeah, it's just something about it. It just seems like it's very top heavy this year.
All right. I guess that was a bit of a bonus side cup of whiz for you there.
Nice.
Um but so too much whiz. Starting off number one. The Falcons should bench Kirk Cousins for one game or the rest
I'm
of the
gonna
season.
I'm gonna say no. You got to ride it out. I
You don't.
mean,
I mean, how? I don't. Go ahead. I mean, it's your question.
putting like when you put in Penix, you're giving up on the season. Like it's like when Drake May came in for Brissett. I think that was them saying like we don't care what happens the rest of the year. Obviously, the Patriots have different expectations.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that putting in Penix over Cousins gives you a better chance of making the playoffs.
Hmm.
He's a rookie. He's never played before. He's coming off an injury. You come into midseason. I don't think it helps you. You got to ride out this year. You're still in the playoff hunt. Kirk gives you the best chance to keep winning games. And then next year is when you look and see what you want to do. But you got to keep riding with Kirk.
All right. Too much whiz. The offensive rookie of the year will not be a quarterback.
I'm on the Brock Bowers bandwagon.
He's he's like top five in receiving yards, I think, or top six. Like he's killing
He's
it.
arguably the best tight end in football this year.
It's I don't think it's an argument. I think he is.
Yeah,
And
I think it
he
should.
wasn't even playing that much in the first couple weeks, and then this has all been like as of late.
I mean, Jaden Daniels cooled off a lot. Caleb
Yeah.
Williams doesn't look great.
No. Bo Nix has
What's his
been
face?
on a bit of a streak, but
I mean, Bo Nix is he's making a little charge, but no. When you're talking about an elite player, Brock Bowers is the only elite player. I think he has to win it.
okay. And then final too much whiz. The Cincinnati Bengals will claim the last wild card spot in the AFC.
You know what? I'm still fighting myself on having the moment of silence for them, so I'll buy into it. Sure.
Okay.
I'm not giving up yet. Like, man, they are a team that can score 50 to 60 points whenever they wanted, but they're also a team that needs to score 50 to 60 points or they won't win.
Yeah, I've never seen a defense that's like that bad that they just
Like
can't.
they scored 27 points against a four-win team and still needed their own punt to be blocked to win the game.
Yeah.
That game was over. And they still needed to score 27 against the four-win Cowboys to barely win and take it.
Um, I mean, they definitely have to win the rest of the games, but
Oh, without a doubt.
right now is Baltimore, the Chargers, and Denver all at 8-5. I can't believe Denver's 8-5.
I mean, that's the way you get in. That's the perfect situation. Chargers and Broncos, those are your competition for the wild card.
Yeah. And then the Colts and the Dolphins are both 6-7. I don't see the Colts sneaking
I
in.
mean, those
Dolphins,
four teams are wild card contenders. Those are the teams you need to beat.
yeah.
I think
So
that's what helps them a lot. If they, I mean, listen, go on a run. Your
let's,
destiny's in front of you. If you beat all four of those teams, you're in.
they have Tennessee, that's a W. Cleveland,
That's a W.
probably a W. And then Denver, that's a huge game.
That'd be tough.
And then Pittsburgh, last game of the season. Might not have as much to fight for. They could definitely run the table,
I mean, we'll see.
but all right. And that's the whiz segment and the studs and duds. Game picks has gotten really interesting. Um, I had a really good week and I was able to catch up to you, which was great.
Hmm.
So you and I are both tied for first place,
Ugh,
and the guest picks are one game behind us. So it is down to the
wow.
wire.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I think I went 11-2, and you went. I want to say it was 8-5 this week.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah, but let's see real quick.
Damn, 8-5. What happened?
Yeah, you
What
went eight
did I
and
mess up
five.
on?
My friend Eric went 9-4. So
Wow,
you and
bad week.
yeah, 129.78 is our total.
Hmm. Just blew a big lead. All right, fine. We're gonna gain it back this week.
All right. So this week, do we have? I know we have two Monday night games. I don't fucking know why they do that. I
Not a
hate.
fan.
No,
I hate that they
it's.
overlap.
But yeah,
Play one earlier.
one needs to be like 6 o'clock and one needs to be at 9. Like, don't do this like
Yeah,
7 and 8 o'clock
the
stuff.
30-minute difference is dumb.
It's so stupid.
But we kick off Thursday night football is pretty good. Rams
Oh
and
yeah,
Niners.
Rams and Niners. That's a honestly, if the 49ers win, I mean they're still in contention for their division. So, or possibly the wild card.
You know what? I touched on this with the duds. I still think the Niners were like knocking on death's door. They just got a miracle that the Bears defense was incapable of stopping anything.
Yeah.
I think the Rams win this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's in San Fran. I don't know if that's much of a home field advantage, but
The Rams run silent count nearly every home game.
yeah. I'm gonna take Rams. I agree. I think they're doing. They're fine, really good right now. Like they were playing fine until they hit the Eagles. I think they were 5-1 in their last like 6 games until they played the Eagles, and then obviously came back and responded after that. But
Mhm.
all right. Then starting off Sunday, we have Commanders at the Saints.
Ugh, it's not really an exciting game. I'll take the
No.
Commanders though. I think Derek Carr's hurt. He got hurt this past game.
Yeah, I think Washington wins this one, and then sets up basically game for the division the week after Eagles Commanders. Um, Chiefs at the Browns. Do we think the Browns get a little upset here?
Absolutely not. There's no way.
I was debating it for a moment, but I've taken quite a few upsets over the Chiefs, and I don't want to gamble that again.
The
So
Chiefs have the dark magic on their side.
they
They're
do,
not going to drop one to the Browns.
yeah. Um, Bengals at the Titans. We just talked about this. Since he's got to win, I'm taking
All in,
Cincy.
man. All
Yeah.
in.
Uh, Dolphins at the Texans. Oof. This has major wild card implications because Texans, I mean, if they lose, I mean, the Colts are right behind them, 2 games back from the division.
I listen, I was high on the Dolphins coming in this year. The Dolphins and Seahawks were my teams. The Dolphins with Tua are so much better now, and I still think the Texans are overrated. So I'm taking Miami.
I I I'm in agreement that I think the Texans were overachievers last year, and I think this year they've been more down to earth. But I think they find a way to win. I think the Dolphins had a nice little comeback story with Tua, but I think the
Uh,
Texans need to put it away.
the only time the Dolphins have looked bad is when Tua has not played. They were great before, and
Mm.
they've looking
Well, I mean
real
they
nice
didn't
now.
look great against the Packers, but
Good team.
Ravens at the Giants. Upset alert.
Oh, no.
I'll just pencil us both in for Baltimore. Jets at the Jaguars. I think we have our
Oh
toilet bowl
God,
game of the
this is
week.
rough. Didn't they play each other already? Wasn't that when they fired Salah?
They
They went to
they
London.
they couldn't have
Yeah, I swear. Who did they play in London then? I thought it was the Jags and the Jets.
Panthers maybe.
Yeah, maybe it was. Whatever.
No, Panthers. I
Um,
think were I think it was Panthers Giants in Germany because they were like this is for World War II or something. I don't remember.
I will take. I'm gonna take the Jaguars. They're both teams stink, but the locker room seems like it's a little more intact. The Jets are just a mess, and they all hate each other.
I mean, I really don't want to pick the Jets, but I don't see Mac Jones. He only put up 10 points against the Titans. The Titans had a good defense up until 2 weeks ago, but I thought he would have exposed them a little bit, but I guess not. I'll take the Jets just so we have.
I mean, they're not going to expose anyone. Neither of these teams are good.
No,
This
no,
is
no,
like the blind fighting the blind.
no. Cowboys at the Panthers.
I'm going for it, man. Carolina, they've been fighting. I'm taking them.
I'm not gonna lie. I think that loss drained whatever hope Dallas had left, and
And
I'm
all
with
this
you.
makes you sad. They also lost like the only bright spot of their year. That
Yeah, they're
Overshawn blowing
yeah.
out his entire like not even like he's out for the
I
season. He's out
remember
probably for next year too.
I remember the first half of the Eagles game. He was a pain. They were
He's
having trouble
good.
with him.
You
Yeah,
hear his name all over sound.
yeah.
It's a shame,
He's
but
quick.
like yeah, well, I don't know how quick he's going to be after this whole
Yeah,
thing, but
yeah. It's
you
gonna be
know,
good.
wish him the best.
Yeah. So yeah, both on Carolina. Oof. Trying to get them to that 9 wins like
Hey
I
man,
predicted. Bucks at the Chargers. This is an interesting game. I'm
I
gonna go.
like both these teams.
Mm,
I like both these teams. I think they're both good teams,
I
and
think
they
the
a little
Bucks are better.
sleepy. I'm actually going to take LA. The
I'm gonna
Chargers are
take.
impressing me.
I'm gonna take the Bucks.
Although they need to get J.K. Dobbins back, man. He's such a good feel-good story. Plus, he gives that offense so much more dimension.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Chargers are still like a weird team, but Bucks are fighting. They want to secure that division. So I mean, Chargers are fighting for wild card. So yeah, lot of important games this week. I mean, as it will be the rest of the season. But um, Colts and the Broncos, another important AFC game.
Ooh.
Hmm.
I'm gonna ride with the Broncos. They're the ugliest 8-5 team in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Colts are kind of not great. So that was a terrible analysis, but I think the Broncos are the better of these two teams. I don't think are either of them are particularly great. Uh, Maybe the home field advantage being in Denver and Mile High, whatever. gives a slight advantage to Broncos. So I'll take them. Patriots at the Cardinals. Is this a get right game for Arizona?
Oof. That's a tough one.
Figure Christian Gonzalez probably gonna
Yeah,
lock up Marvin Harrison Jr.
yeah, I don't know. The Patriots kind of stink. I'll take Arizona.
Yeah, I think I'm also gonna go Arizona.
Definitely not a get right game. Like I think this will be a struggle. It'll be a tight lane one.
This game is kind of insane. Bills at the Lions. I didn't even know they were playing each other this year.
See this dude, this is what I said. We're in control of the one seed because the Lions finishing the year is tough. We said this weeks ago. We were like, we could lose the Ravens and Steelers game and still get the one seed, theoretically.
So technically, we have to pick the Bills here.
Obviously. I mean, I was gonna take the Bills regardless.
Go Buffalo. Um, yeah, I do think the Bills because I think they need to. I mean, they have that division under wraps, but I
They need the one seed. I mean, to be fair, this is a one seed battle on both ends. The
yeah,
Lions can't afford to drop one, and neither can the Bills. Well, the one thing that the Bills have is they've got the head to head, but now they've already dropped the one last
this
week.
this game will come down to whoever's defense steps up.
Yeah.
So Steelers at the Eagles, four
Go
o'clock.
Birds.
Yeah, battle for Pennsylvania. Um, it'll be interesting. I think this is very much like I said, a coin flip game. But I think it'll be close no matter what. So, but
I think we
I'd
match up
love for
well.
AJ to come out and get another two touchdown, 170-yard game, but he's overdue.
I I think we match up well because I like our wide receivers on their corners. I think their strength on their defense is the front seven, where
Hmm.
our offensive line is so good. And I actually think Russ is going to have a rough time. I think the secondary and the pass rush is really going to get after him.
Yeah, because he's not going to have a lot of downfield options. So hopefully Pickens is on Mitchell, but we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, I would not be shocked if this was the first Saquon game since early in the season that he doesn't get 100 rushing yards, but um, we'll see. And then Sunday night, Packers at the Seahawks
Mm. I've been on the
in
Seahawks all year.
Seattle.
I've been on the Seahawks all year, but I
I'm gonna
think
go.
the Packers
I'm gonna
need
go
this.
Pack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like the Packers need this. They lost a tough one. They can't keep dropping games. I'm going to give the Packers this one.
yeah, that's tough. Monday nights, both games are kind of not so entertaining. Bears at the Vikings. So I'm gonna take the Vikings because the
The
Bears are
Vikings,
trash.
yeah, we already had a moment of silence.
And then Falcons at the Raiders.
Oh my God. How is that a Monday night football game?
Is this a get right game for the Falcons?
I don't think either of them are capable of get right games. I mean, I'll have to take the Falcons, but who in their right mind thought, yep, you know what? Week 15 or whatever we're in, we need the Falcons versus the Raiders on national TV. I don't even understand what the appeal would have been. The Raiders are a joke. The Falcons, I guess Kirk Cousins, but I mean, I don't know, man.
I don't know. But that's
The
week.
Bills versus Lions don't get national TV, but the Falcons versus the Raiders do.
Well, Eagles Steelers will be the Tom Brady broadcast team, so should be interesting.
Yeah, he's not great on the
He's
commentating.
not, no.
I'll give him the season though. He's
Better
got to
than Greg
find,
Olson, but not great.
see, I liked Greg Olson better.
I did not. Not a fan. But yeah, that's week 15, and then it's gonna get down to the wire here. It'd be great if the Eagles won, because it sets them up perfectly for the next week. Because I don't know how the standings are gonna work out, but that could very well be the game they win the division if they're that ahead of Washington. But we'll see. So, but go Birds and peace out.
Peace.
Peace.